Good afternoon, gamers. Ringo here. And it's been a little bit since I've made a Tokon video. The well for content for a game that doesn't come out for another 3 months has been a little dry, but every once in a while we do get some gems, and in this case, it is a first to 3 exhibition that happened on day 1 of EVO Japan, featuring Goichi versus Sonic Fox. And I wanted to try to give some in-depth analysis for this game for not only myself, to try to give myself some inside thoughts, some outside build, and help myself understand more of the fundamentals of this game, but also for others who are either still unfamiliar with the gameplay aspects of this game, or beginners who may want to take a peek at the thought process that goes on inside the minds of players who play fighting games more than the average person. Also, one of the things I wanted to do with this video is to try to fix up how I do analysis a little bit. You can just skip to this part in the video slider to just get to the part of the analysis that you came here for, but to continue on a little bit, for the last video I made a little over 2 years ago for Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, I kind of ended up becoming a little more than a shoutcaster when it comes to talking about what was going on, and I didn't really feel as if I did that good of a job on actually giving an in-depth analysis in the vein of actually talking about what people wanted to see, which is stuff like why somebody would do something, why they would want to do something, kind of giving a window into the mind of the moment to moment in an average round of a fighting game, the benefits of doing this or that, and overall making the video transformative and beneficial to whoever was watching it. So I'm going to be using this as an opportunity to try to switch up a little bit and focus on doing that a little bit more with a game that I'm feeling very passionate about. So that's probably going to increase the length of the video overall. So mind me if it goes on a little bit, but hopefully for those that like listening to people ramble a little bit, they'll get some benefit out of this. And if you don't, then I'm very sorry about that. So without further ado, let's get into it. They, honest to goodness, start the first round of the first game a third of the way through Sonic Fox's health bar, and 15 seconds already gone from the round. I'll put up the transition here so that you can see for yourself. So I can't quite exactly say how Goichi starts the round exactly. However, his follow-up and decision-making is very smart. He has the ability to, by all merit, extend this combo further using his 1 assist, gain some extra meter, and put Sonic Fox in a heavy knockdown state in the corner, giving him some very strong Oki with a character as rushdown and mix-up heavy as Wolverine. However, because this is the first round, he opts to do an ender that pushes Sonic Fox to the next part of the stage, giving him an additional assist and putting Sonic Fox in a knockdown state that allows him to continue his turn anyway, thanks to the recent gameplay change that was shown the last time we saw news about Tokon. The reason why this is so important is because of how many resources Goichi now has in play over Sonic Fox at this specific point in the game, aka round 1. Not only does he have more assist meter now than them, he also now has his reversal assist available. For those that either don't know or forgot, usually the assist that sits at the bottom of the character diamond next to the health bar is the version of that character that does some sort of reversal, most commonly some form of DP. Now, you can switch out which character is in this diamond by rotating through your different character slots. However, whatever is sitting there initially when the game first starts is the one that you're going to first switch to. So now, just in case he finds himself being pushed out of his turn defensively, he now has an additional meter to do a crossover or spin it on an assist with a reversal or be aggressive and neutral more often than Sonic Fox can, until Sonic Fox themselves gets a combo that can give them an additional assist online. Again, this type of thought process and advantage is really only relevant at this specific part of the game. As you'll see at the beginning of the next round, the loser of that round gains an assist to even up the play, meaning that when Sonic Fox loses, as you'll see here, next round resources are back to being even. Next round, we actually do get to see how each of these players approach the round start neutral of the game, with both of them trying to find pokes to make something start. However, what you can see here is that Goichi makes another smart offensive option, doing an aerial move to catch Magic, knowing that he can use his assist to keep him safe at worst, and at best it either catches them in the air or on the ground if they decide to land in a crouch block position because of its overhead. and Sonic Fox immediately gets to apply that bottom assist reversal mentioned earlier. However, they throw this out on reaction, and the Wolverine move is so fast that it completely blows past the Captain America rising uppercut before the move even fully comes out. So it fails, and the reason for this is something that is not super talked about on beginner to intermediate level, so I'll take some time to explain it, and then you guys at home can try to see if not only in this game, but in some other games as well, you can try to find times where this may apply. Basically, when it comes to the concept of neutral, there are three options you can give: aggressive, defensive, and reactive. What Goichi did was an aggressive action, as you can tell by him trying to blast out of neutral with that EX spin. What Sonic Fox did was a reactive option by them trying to react to what Goichi did with doing Captain America DP assist. However, what a lot of people don't know is that there is usually a triangle applied to this, sort of like rock, paper, scissors. Reactive beats defensive, defensive beats aggressive, and the most important one for this particular scene that I've set up is that aggression beats reaction. And that's exactly what happened here. Goichi didn't wait for any clear structure at the moment to take his turn, he just went for it out of neutral, aka aggression. However, Sonic Fox tries to bait with a non-committal option because they didn't want to do anything until Goichi made a clear move at them, aka reactive. The resulting effect, Goichi's aggression beats Sonic Fox's reaction, and he breaks neutral and gets to take his turn. So, just something to watch out for when you're looking at other games and when you're looking through the rest of this video. However, he doesn't get to keep his turn for long, as he ends up putting himself in the corner and allowing Sonic Fox to apply pressure onto him after ending a block string safely spaced out so that he doesn't get clipped by Sonic Fox challenging his pressure. Now, I know that I've said a lot and we are only just past the first round. However, I want to talk a little bit more about Goichi's defense and why it's so important in a game like this. Having good defense is definitely going to be a strong part of this game for what makes a successful player, with no small part being because of how overwhelming it could potentially end up, being what with there having the potential to have 8 different characters on the screen at one time, and 4 of them are all trying to kill you potentially, so having the ability to take it in stride and focus on what needs to be done so that you don't get opened up is going to be very important. And Goichi, known as one of the modern day kings of defense in fighting games, shows that immaculately here. He's willing to only try to poke when it does him good because he knows he gets spaced out by Sonic Fox's magic and Star-Lord projectile. Knowing that Sonic Fox doesn't have access to any particularly fast overheads, he opts to hold down back, only deeming it necessary to press a button to tech throw, possibly using some sort of basic fuzzy throw tech option select here. And notice specifically when he tries to take his turn back. Sonic Fox has used both of their bars of assist meter and is reliant on character kit only at this point. So now Goichi chooses a moment to use the crossover mechanic, knocking Sonic Fox off of them and allowing him to aggress however he chooses. Now, Goichi wins game 1 pretty handily, and I don't want to have this just be talking about how Goichi wins whatever he's doing, so let's look at game 3, where, spoiler, Sonic Fox wins. 3 rounds straight, actually, fairly handily. Goichi's offense here is just as strong as it was the first 2 games, so the most important signifier on why Sonic Fox was able to pull off an amazing game was adaptation. You can see that even though Goichi spends a lot of the 3rd game doing the kind of same pressure and same offensive flowchart that he's been doing, you can see that Sonic Fox has finally reached the culmination of what they've been trying to do for the last 2 games. More pokes from optimal distance, more fireballs from magic, even fully switching over to Star-Lord to confirm mid-range opportunities that keep Goichi far away from them, using the fact that Wolverine has much shorter distance than most other characters on Sonic Fox's team, structure forced distance. And in order to create that distance in the first place, you have to win on your own pressure. And we can see that when they start to do things like reading when Goichi tries to go for crossover on defense, when they've only gone for it a couple of times, and doing what is necessary to break it, which is just hitting them twice. Very simple. So they do moves that have those natural multi-hits or strings that are very quick to hit twice. Things like adaptation and being able to create good structured offense in the heat of battle is why these two are considered among the best in the FGC's competitive industry. Sonic Fox also shows good adaptation in the smaller moments that help solidify rounds too. For instance, here, Goichi switches to Danger after jumping, who has access to good zoning and mix-up potential, which is a tactic that he has fallen back to with both Penny and Doom at least twice now. However, Sonic Fox has yet to adjust in a way that truly counters that. The closest thing being when they manage to get a big poke on Goichi's Penny swap and confirm into a combo. However, this time, they're fully ready to tag out to a character who's sticky or close range, start pressure, go for an overhead and block string, lands it, and takes the round with Captain America. For the final round of this game, Sonic Fox stays on Cap, and Goichi switches back to Wolverine, opting to stay on his original and tried and true method of getting in with Wolverine using assist sparingly and taking his turn back when he can afford to out-resource Sonic Fox. And then, when they can't do anything about it because they're dry on resources, address that with some more aggressive offense. However, what Sonic Fox realizes at this time is that Magic has not been going so well against Wolverine. Yes, she has good buttons and better range than Wolverine. However, she doesn't have a reversal when she needs it immediately, usually having to rely on Portal for this. Her Fireball loses to Wolverine's when she doesn't have Portal up, and because of the fact that her buttons are longer, she sacrifices just a tiny bit more frame data than what Wolverine has, meaning that when Wolverine gets up close, and he will, especially with Goichi's team, any slightly slower reaction time than what is absolutely necessary will cause you to get hit. However, Cap covers a lot of that, and he has his medium button, that forward kick, for one really good reason, and I just mentioned it. Whiff punishing, aka reaction time. Sonic Fox primarily wins this round by whiff punishing several key misses on Goichi's end, and besides eating 50% with the Assemble Super near the end, takes the game very convincingly. Now, the last game isn't anything that I'm going to focus on making an entire dissertation on like the last couple of games. However, you should definitely watch it for yourself because it is essentially a full culmination of both of these players' mental and physical adaptation throughout these last couple of games, with it going down to final round last interaction and it ending with Goichi getting a very simple but effective read on Sonic Fox's block string ender and getting the game closing out the set. That's going to be it for this video, guys. I made this as a sort of solidification on my plans to slowly turn this channel into being mostly about Tokon when that game finally comes out, and kind of just playing other games on the side. I've been making those Guilty Gear ranked videos just to kind of pad out the channel and have content kind of consistently flowing through. However, I have really fallen in love with Tokon ever since it was announced to be released, and I really plan on doing everything I can to make a lot of content on that game before and after it comes out. So I hope you all have enjoyed this in-depth analysis, and let me know what kind of content you want to see next. Let me know if you have any ideas for the channel, any feedback for the analysis in general, or, whatever else, whatever other type of comment you want to leave. And besides that, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.